Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with the Councilors, the November version of it. We have a couple of new people here today. Actually, we had 3 new people today, 2 of whom I don't know. We're going to start. I'm going to go around and ask people what they want to talk about here in the audience, and then I'll go up to Zoom and ask people what they want to talk about, and then we'll talk. So let's get started. I don't know you.
Oh, I'm Maria
Hi, Maria.
Koshi.
And is there something you'd like to talk about today?
Actually, I'm mostly here to listen. This is my first coffee with the councilors.
Great.
I'm mostly here to listen, but I definitely have some, thoughts about a lot of things.
Okay.
And so I wouldn't say I might not chime in.
Okay, that's fine. You can ask. Raise your hand anytime. Raise your hand anytime. Janae, what would you like to talk about?
I am here to listen and I will chime in.
Okay. Lynn.
I'm here to say hi to Liz. Hi, honey.
So you have to come here to say hi to your husband. Okay.
We do what we can.
Do you have anything you want to talk about today?
Nah.
Jan, what would you like to talk about today? It's going to be a very quiet session. Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
We'd like to talk about an update on the bridge, if there is.
Okay.
And the other thing, it may seem like a small thing, but I think overall, it's a signage question and a signage request that, for example, I noticed a new sign at the whale park, which is a tsunami sign, and it's stuck right in the one of the planter boxes there, which when you come around from my end of town into town, that's the most beautiful, iconic view that we have there. And I feel if we possibly could, it would be really wonderful to find a better place at the whale park for that sign that's stuck in the planter box now.
Okay.
So hopefully we can come together and figure that out.
Okay. All right. Okay. And I didn't mention that Lisa is here. Lisa Kerr is here. I'm Nancy McCarthy, in case anybody doesn't know. And then we also have our code enforcement officer, Daniel, and our city manager, Bruce, and of course, Rusty, who keeps it all together for us.
And police chief's on too.
What's that?
Our police chief's on.
And our police chief is on here. He's
Middle right.
He's got a beautiful painting on the wall that I don't see.
No, middle right.
No, the other one.
Yeah.
Other
Oh,
side,
never
right
mind.
there.
I guess you don't. Somebody else does.
The other
Right.
one, yeah.
All right. It's been one of those mornings already. Hi. Hello there, Jason. How are you? Okay, so we have our police chief on the line as well. So what would you like to talk about today?
You're muted.
You're muted. Yep, you're still.
There we go.
There you go.
You're muted.
Okay,
How's that?
that's it.
Oh, okay. This actually is my first rodeo.
Yeah.
On Zoom. And so I appreciate y'all being here. I wanted to talk about something of significant concern to me regarding a meeting that I understood was going to take place and get together with Bruce and with Barb Knopp at my bookshop on Saturday.
Okay,
And that Bruce didn't show up, and Barb and I were very concerned and have been. 24 hours later, we were still trying to figure out what happened. We were concerned for Bruce's health or the health of his family, because it seemed like a very dramatic departure from what I understand is communication and decorum. And then this morning, as it extended into it, I started to become concerned not only for that, but as that extends to the function of the city. And so I'm glad to see that you're here this morning, Bruce. But this to me seems like a fairly serious matter that if there's time, I'd like to discuss it.
okay, well,
There'll be
we will
time.
talk about that. Deb, what would you like to talk about today?
I want to talk about elk and bunnies.
About health and money?
No, elk and
No.
buddies.
I like health and money better. Elk and okay.
Buddies.
Bunnies.
Elk
Elk
and bunnies. I like health and money better.
We need
We're in check.
that too. We need a lot of that.
Betsy, what would you like to talk about today?
I'd like to talk about the Nakus project today.
Okay. Betty,
I'd like to talk about parking signs on private property.
okay. Jason, I'm not even going to ask you what you want to talk about. Is there anything you'd like to talk about today? You are on mute. I guess nothing, nothing. He wants to talk about nothing. We're not communicating today. Jenny, is there anything you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, and just so you know, the window washers are here, and so they came 2 hours early, so I'll be in and out probably, and they'll be in and out. I get to see them too. I'd like to talk a little bit about the conversation that you all had about short-term rentals at the council meeting.
Okay. It's gonna be an interesting group. Stacy, I don't know you, but is there anything you would like to talk about today? And welcome
Yeah.
to.
I wanted to listen to a conversation about the short-term rentals too.
Okay, all right. And Les, welcome. You are where, in Texas?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. No, I'm actually cruising through Oklahoma as we speak.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to talk about? Or would you like to say hi to Lynn?
Oh, hi, honey.
Hi.
I'd actually like to talk just briefly about the decision review or design review board.
Okay. And is there anything you'd like to talk about today?
No, not in particular. I'm just interested in all these topics, so.
All right, where do we start? The easy one or the hard one? Let's start talking about, let's do the update on the bridge and the signage, because Jan's always the last one. So let's start with her first today.
Okay. The update is, we're still waiting to hear from FEMA. And the next step will be that, and FEMA has said that, told us verbally that we will get the grant. The grant will be to investigate whether the bridge can be retrofitted successfully. And so that would be the next step.
Thank you.
And the signage at Whale Park.
I've made a note on that and we'll find someplace for it.
There was an existing 4x4 in the flower bed for years and years. That's where I put up the no firework signs. And whenever Rick got signs, he went around and put them where it was easy.
Sure.
And that's why it's there. There's one in front of the post office. Nobody ever knew there was a sign in the flower bed, post in the flower bed until he put the sign up, but there's always been a post in that flower bed. And so he didn't pick spots, he used spots the city had already.
Okay.
And so.
We'll see what we can do.
But this,
So what would you like to see done?
What would I like?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see if we can find a better spot so that it doesn't impact your view. Especially, well, either way, because I walked from the other direction also, and when you're walking, I mean, it's fantastic if you want people to see the sign. But I think there's other things that we're trying to do here, which is share the beauty of the place. And I think there's probably a way to have a sign in that vicinity that isn't so obstructive. So I'll be willing to help if I'm, you know.
We'll try to find something.
Is there something that you and Karen
Yeah.
might be able to work on? Okay.
Yep.
So, yeah, sure. Okay, Watt, would you like to go next?
No, unmute.
Unmute their Watt.
Okay.
There you go.
My apologies for.
That's okay.
Happens
I
all
come
the
from a
time.
family- Yeah, I come from a family where we want to give other people the chance to go first. And so I'm hesitant, especially since it may be a little bit more emotional or be a little more heavy. I'm hesitant to jump in front of the other folks. So, I mean, I would be happy to put this at the end if you would, and let other folks have a
No.
chance.
Well, we can do it.
Let's
We can
do
do
it
it now. Let's do it now. Get it over with.
Barb and I want to have a call with you today at 2 if we can.
I'd be happy to do that, Bruce. I think that what occurred, I should probably give some context to the meeting for the benefit of everyone. What we were discussing, Bruce and I had what I felt like was a very good talk after the last council meeting. Bruce came up. I was grateful for our chance to talk. We probably spoke for an hour and a half there in the chambers there after the meeting, which was very good. I was so grateful for that following the previous 36 hours of challenge and communication. And part of what I understood, and I don't want to attribute this to anyone else's understanding, but part of what I understood was that there was a common desire to have a genuine community meeting on the 28th that would be in the spirit of the New England town meetings, where everybody gets a chance to basically speak as co-equals about an important topic. And so last week I heard that there was potentially a possibility that the proponents of this project in its current form, and by this project I mean the school renovation project, the architect and/or Bruce would be the first ones to speak, and that would give a presentation regarding the existing plan and where things are. And my concern for that was that it could potentially sap the energy of the group, and that it would also, this was an opportunity for people to speak, as I understood it, as co-equals, and that it would be better for everybody to play by the same rules and just, let people speak. And I also had the understanding that at least my intention was to not delay this project, was to come up with a consensus plan that would draw in the support of the whole community and bring us back together as a community. And so I've been working in earnest on that. And I felt like that was some common ground that we had. And so I really thought we were going to get together at 2 o'clock on Saturday to discuss that. And then when Barb came by and by the way, we specifically avoided discussion of that topic because we wanted to do it with you, Bruce. But then when you didn't show, and then 24 hours later, we still hadn't heard from you. Barb still hadn't heard from you. And then as of this morning, I just saw this as, this may be the norm in terms of what happens, but for me, this seems like a pretty serious matter when the mayor is unable to get in touch with the city manager and get a response on a very important topic. If this is the behavioral norm, to me, it not only then, I was already concerned for your family and you, Bruce. I thought that this was an emergent health thing, but then this became, by extension, a concern for the cities. If this is the normal way for the city functions, I'm concerned.
Yeah, that was an abnormal situation for me. I really don't want to go into it in a public meeting, but I did call you and left a message, and I've talked to Barb. And what we wanted to do is to have a meeting by phone today at 2.
Okay.
Maybe you three can talk it out in a private situation. Probably might be much more conducive to a private discussion rather than a public discussion.
Absolutely. And I agree. Part of the challenge with all of this is to know what to do in private, what to do in public.
Right.
I did not receive, perhaps you don't have my cell phone number, Bruce, but I'm not receiving any communication from you. And really, you could have said just what you just said in an email. You could have responded by email and say there was a private matter, and I look forward to being able to discuss it then. And that would have put my concerns at rest. I would have understood. But what I get is radio silence to me. That would have been an easy way of dealing with it and making this distinction between public and private in a way that I could understand and would respect.
Right, and there was not radio silence. I did call, it left a message. I didn't know. It was the phone number that Barb gave me that was from, that she has in her contacts for you.
Yeah.
So I did call.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not seeing it. So, but I mean,
Did you call the bookstore or did you call his private?
I called his private
Mm.
number.
Okay.
maybe you have a different number, but there's always this possibility in human communication. And that's why it's always good. Redundancy is good. And I try to do that. If I'm not able to make sure that somebody understands, then I will try to find another way. And as of 24 hours later, Barb still hadn't understood. And then I never received anything there. So I'll circle back around with her. And you're saying you'd like to have a conference call today at 2:00. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
Make sure that you have the right phone number. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Nancy. So that's good. And I appreciate given the opportunity to do this. And I hope that other folks will forgive. This is just one of many topics that's important. And yeah.
But what I'd like to address something that you said in the beginning, that not about the meeting, but when you talked about the format of the meeting on the 28th and having a presentation prior to having public comment. The way I looked at that is that it's really much more constructive to hear exactly what the plan is before you comment on it. And that's what I sort of feel has been happening a lot is there have been so many public meetings and a lot of people have not come to them or gone back on Zoom to watch them. And this process has been going on for a couple of years. So, and people haven't participated in the past and they're coming in now and don't like what they're seeing. So the idea was let them see what the plan is before they comment so that they can comment not from a place of emotion, but from an intelligent, analytical place where they can see, oh, this is what I don't like this aspect of the project, but let them see what the project is first before they comment, rather than just standing up and blowing off steam without knowing what the plan is. That was how I looked at it, but maybe, I don't know, how you're envisioning it, but.
Well, it makes sense what you're saying on one level, Nancy. I'm sorry, Lisa, I apologize. I think that visuals are definitely in order to have easels and the schematics of the project as it's currently proposed. I myself and many other people who want to comment do understand what the project as it's currently proposed involves and what we're hoping to do, which is a little different than what has been done before, perhaps, is to actually begin recommending alterations to that or revisiting of that can keep us moving forward, but that comes up with a consensus plan. What I hope we can avoid in this meeting is to just have it be a thumbs up or thumbs down, we're for or against, in this very emotional setting where we're like coming to court as citizens and you folks are sitting around, in this elevated observation role, sort of in a public hearing. What I was hoping is that we could recapture some of that town hall meeting spirit, whereby we're saying, this is what we really want. And I realize from some vantage points, it may look like that's already happened, but I don't feel like that it's happened in a way that, obviously brings the community together at this point. There's a lot of division. And I feel like that if folks have the chance, certainly with the architects there, with staff there to answer questions, with schematics about what the project as it currently proposed is, I think that would be valuable. For some folks in the community, apparently it's going to be an emotional hurdle just to come where you folks are sitting right now, because it does kind of feel like coming to court. And not everybody, at this point in time feels comfortable. And so I think making sure that folks feel comfortable that they can trust that there's going to be a setting. Barb, I think, is a wonderful person to oversee this because I believe that she is a trusted voice in this whole discussion. So that's where, I don't know if that helps at all, Lisa, in describing where I'm coming from, or.
It does, but I find it, there's an irony in this for me, because from the very beginning, when this was proposed before I was a council member, I was pretty ambivalent about the whole project, to tell you the truth. I wasn't invested in it. I was much more invested in things like wetlands and trees and environmental protections. But when I heard the community speak at all the meetings I attended, and I attended every one, and I listened to the people in the community and saw how much they wanted this, that's when I became that's when I came on board. Because I didn't start off that way. I have no connection to that school. I could, as a building, objectively, I don't find it attractive. But when I heard the meaning it had to people and how much they wanted to have this, and I heard from the tribes and everything, I thought, wow, okay, I'm an elected official. I'm going to get on board with this because this is what the community wants. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, the council's made this decision without the community's input, and we've just, sort of dictatorially said, we want this and we're going to pay. So it's the whole thing is extremely ironic for me, personally.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Lisa. I too believe that the entire community is for this project. The question is, what is this project? Because I think at some point, at least I can speak for myself, as somebody that was very invested, has been for a very long time in this project, as is Sam Stidel and others who have had this long-standing involvement with, as an advocate for this project, that there was a point where it became something that we were no longer feeling part of and supportive of. It became something that detracted from what we were seeing in terms of that community support, rather than was adding to it. And so, as somebody that has supported it, as has others since the beginning, I feel like that this is a point where we really do need to move beyond this binary of like people that think, oh, well, this is just great, and this is what has been proposed since the beginning, versus people that think we're at a point where something that could really pull us together might be something that has long-standing divisive influence on the community.
Okay, so I'm going to, we're getting a little bit, losing a little time here. Deb has her hand up, make it really short, and then I'm going to go to Betsy because she wanted to talk about Nakus, so we'll make a circle of this. Yeah.
So I just wanted to
Okay.
say, hi, Watt. I've not met you, Watt, and happy to meet you. I just wanted to know, you're a big supporter of the Indians, and I'm just writing an article that they just wrote an article this week coming out in support of the project exactly the way it is. And I don't understand where the disconnect is between the Indians and you when you're a big supporter of the Indians.
Well, you say, Nancy, is this something? I'm happy to respond to any question.
Yeah, go ahead. You can respond.
Okay. So this does get into private versus public to some degree, but I think that it is important for you to know, everyone in this room and anybody else, that the point at which I saw this division occurring, I sought private communication with my good friends with Clatsop Nehalem Confederated Tribes. And I reached out to them. This was back in May, in effort to try to bring things together privately in a way that would benefit, I felt like, both the community and the tribes, because what we need to do is something that's going to be supportive of both. I received no response, which was to me an indication both of capacity and also, well, I'll just leave it there. So that did occur. And then so I believe that there needs to be something done which is going to honor and support Clatsop-Nehalem Confederated Tribes and the members thereof. And that has never wavered for me, ever. And I honestly don't think that that's ever wavered for any members of the community. The question is, what can be done at what cost that is compatible with our existing resources, like the museum, for example, to make sure that we're not duplicating services, overspending or overbuilding, and that what we have serves our village character as a whole.
Okay, I'm going to go to Betty because she had her hand up. Betty?
Oh, gosh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I better not talk right now. I'm just too upset. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No,
Betsy?
do. That's when you should talk.
No, I just feel like if the vision of this place is so much bigger than anybody that's negative about it understands. We're going to be covering the whole ecology from Haystack Rock all the way up to the water the water we drink. The educational portion has been worked on since 2013. The tribe has been so involved in this project. Their vision is being met, and there is no reason why we shouldn't move forward. We need to embrace this project with open hearts and do what we can. If you're worried about money, I could say a bad word, but if you're worried about money, let's make money. Let's do a lot of car washes. It's worth 1 million car washes. I don't know why you wouldn't stand up for this. It's so amazing. It's going to be so amazing.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Betsy because Betsy wanted to talk about Nakoos. And
Yeah.
let's give her a turn.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. This is an interesting meeting that seems to be mostly focused on anyway. I had a child and a grandchild and go through the school system here. I don't find it a thing of beauty. I know that the community has had every opportunity for years to give input, and I don't think it's been in any kind of judgmental setting. People have been invited to all kinds of personal things. The door's been open. I feel like the city staff has turned themselves inside out to make this accessible to everybody. One of the reasons we didn't tear the whole place down and start with something contemporary is because of the sentimental feelings of so many people about the old school and how we loved it. You know, the school was, in so many people's minds, the heart of our community in so many ways because of the families and the strong families that actually are living here in Cannon Beach. And from out on the highway, kids came to school here. So now the architects, who I consider to be brilliant, and the hard work of the city staff and all the input from all the citizens have come up with a most beautiful plan. And as we go into the future of the 21st century and more people come to Cannon Beach, I mean, some of these arguments remind me of the ones I've been listening to for my whole adult life. Oh my gosh, we can't stop driving on the beach. Nobody will come to Cannon Beach if we stop driving on the beach. We'll all dry up and blow away. You know, you pick up almost any magazine, travel magazine, Condé Nast, it doesn't matter. Who's the 10 best beaches? It's always Cannon Beach. We're going to always have people coming here. And to take a center, well, it's not exactly the center, but it's the entrance to town, turn it into something much more attractive, and to honor the first people that were here, which has been long overdue in our culture, and to really emphasize the arts and the environment, because if anybody's paying any attention about global warming and what's going on, we all need to start taking a lot better care of our Mother Earth. And the arts built this town into a place where wonderful people come and enjoy it. They enjoy the environment, they enjoy the arts. And I fully support the project as it exists. And I'm sorry that there are people who feel like somehow their voices weren't heard. And what, as to a consensus situation, I think I've always been a little scared of consensus form of government, because we all come with our own agendas, and there's always going to be people that don't agree with the other people, and we can't keep doing this for months and months and months more, because the price of everything is going up. We need to get off of it, close it, do it, and just get on with it. And as far as, you know, Bruce, I don't know what was going on with you on Saturday, but I'll tell you, my hat is off to you for even considering spending your weekend time hashing it out with people who want to talk to you. I'm sure you have office hours, and I know you probably work a hell of a lot more than 40 hours a week, but you know, I'm sorry, Watt, that turned into such a big deal for you, because I just think having somebody working on a Saturday when the staff works so hard, you know, anyway, that's my little speech. I'm all done. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Can I say one more thing?
Go ahead, Deb.
I met with key people from Audubon this weekend, and they are very excited in partnering in this project about education with birds. And I think I want to say that we're excited about bringing a consciousness of people here that are nature lovers, bird watchers, wildlife lovers, and it's like shaping the town into something really beautiful, and health and sanctuary and sacredness and the Indian spiritual, you know, being. And they were there first. And one other question: how many meetings have we had, Bruce? I need to know that figure, by the way.
Interview them later.
Yeah, I can get it to you, Deb.
Okay, I need that. Thank you. That's all I want to say.
What, real quick?
I didn't ask Bruce to come to the bookshop on Saturday. I had no request for him to work outside his normal hours. That was his suggestion. I was willing to do it in my place of work. And also, for a lot of us, there are things that come up in life. For me, it was having a lot of time in Tennessee with my parents and supporting them that made it harder for us to participate in a way that we would have along the line. And I'll leave it at that, because I do know that there are other folks that have important topics to bring up. And just to say that one thing I mentioned to Bruce again, and when we got together after the last council meeting, is that I have no desire to delay this project. I have no desire to do anything that would in any way detract from the honoring of Native peoples, or to make it more complex or difficult to achieve what we're trying to do here. I do believe that there are things that could be done that would bring a lot more community spirit to this. I will continue to call it consensus, even though I know, as Betty, there are many things in the past that have divided us, but I feel like this can be something to bring us together. So I appreciate your time, folks, and I'm going to stay on here to listen to the other important issues.
Good. Les, you wanted to talk about the DRB. I think this is probably a good time to go through that.
Yeah, I'm going to assume you can hear me. My comment, I have a number of different thoughts, but the one I wanted to focus on was the rhetoric in the email trains that are going around town the last couple of weeks that's somehow holding up the DRB's negative decision on the elementary rejuvenation as in some way right. I think the way they looked at that was a travesty. I don't understand how a group of individually good people can get it so wrong and did such a poor job of doing their job. Anyway, I just wanted to speak out because it's really bugging me that I see a lot of conversation about, oh, this is great. They finally stood up for the people. And all they did was, you know, hijack the process. They didn't stand up for anybody.
Okay. All right. Did you have anything you wanted to say, Bruce? At all? I mean, publicly?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure there was, because I thought I heard some mumbling back there, so I thought I'd check that out. All right, moving on. Ginny, you wanted to talk about the STRs, the short-term rentals.
Yeah, I listened to your meeting and I thought it was really interesting. I thought, like so many people, it was interesting to hear that Gary didn't understand that whole 14-day. And I feel like that's really true of a lot of people in town. But I was wondering, how could you just remind me how that bed tax is it a percentage of the cost of your stay, or is it based on how many people are staying?
It's a dollar amount, it's a percent.
It's a percentage of the
Amount you make.
amount that they make every quarter, basically.
Right.
They have to turn in a tax statement every quarter. And so it's a percentage of the amount that they turn in every quarter.
Well, and thank you, Nancy, for saying that we needed to also talk about possibly zones for short-term rentals, geographic areas maybe to exempt, raising the fees and raising the fines, because right now they're not even one night stay at most of those places. And also, I think when we have that meeting, or when there's more talk about it, talking about whether an owner can stay in their ADU and rent out the house, which is now legal.
Yeah, I know that is something we need to talk about. We did raise the fee considerably about 2 or 3 years ago. I think the original fee was like $75, and I knew that Seaside had raised theirs to I think $400 at that time. And now I see that they're even higher in the surrounding areas, and we need to think about raising our fee again to match that.
Right. I mean, even taking an average of what all of our short-term rentals charge for one night and making that, you know.
Yeah, the cost
and
of
also
doing business.
The fines that we've talked about before, they just are nothing to them.
Yeah, yeah.
And when is that next meeting on short-term rentals?
I'm not sure.
Well, we're discussing it at the retreat, which is in December, mid-December, and then it'll get onto the agenda.
Yeah, yeah, we're having 2 full-day retreats in December. December, 14th and 19th, right?
Yeah.
So December 14th and 19th, and we'll have the agendas out before the retreat. So you'll kind of get an idea of when we'll be talking about it. Those agendas fluctuate depending on how much time we spend on each agenda item, but the retreats are public. They're on Zoom. You can come into the city hall and listen to us, or you can listen to us on Zoom. And we'll be talking about it. It'll be an informal discussion, and then we'll have a more formal discussion later on, probably in January or February.
And I know Lisa at one point said no one likes to live next to a hotel, but really hotels, you know what you're getting into. They have adequate parking. They're way more pleasant to live by than a short-term rental, that's continuously rented. So
yeah, I think before the meeting, before the retreat, I'll try and give Jen those. There's a whole series of interesting articles and research about the effect of short-term rentals on community and on long-term rentals, having housing, affordable housing. So I'll make sure that I get those articles to her before the meeting, so they're in the packet, so people can look at them.
I liked Barb's comment that of course she read them because she knew you were going to ask about it. And I'm just gonna say one thing about the school. I think we just need to move forward. There's been so much opportunity for everyone to have their say. Let's just get on with the plans as written by the architect.
Okay. All right, Betty, you wanted to talk about parking signs on private property.
Yes, is it legal to just put on your fence, no parking? I mean, there's so many signs in town right now and it's getting worse. So I just want to know what the ordinance is.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up now because it's exactly what I was thinking about yesterday. Because it's a right of way and they're saying you can't park in the right of way of their house, but it's not, doesn't appear to be city sanctioned. It seems to be a private affair.
Daniel,
The signs cannot be in the right of way. I am going to be talking with planning regarding some code interpretations on signage. But it is something where I have started a signage audit going citywide, basically.
And so, and I know you can't put a sign in the right of way, but I was told you can't put a sign on a fence facing the right of way saying no parking except for your driveway, because that is considered open parking.
And I'll look into that and get back.
I believe that's the case, Lynn.
People can park in front of your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as people are parking on the right of way, even if there is a sign on the private property that says no parking there,
Yeah.
it's not really enforceable.
Right.
Right. But people put like 2 and 3 across, and it's
Right.
happy holidays or something, you know.
We have, you also have the problem with the cones.
Yes.
I have a neighborhood full of cones. So that the cones are right in front of the right of way. So on the street, but in front of the right of way to the house. So people can't park there. So we have that situation as
And
well.
I'm constantly following up on.
They come in, but they mysteriously reappear in the spring.
Yeah, amazing how that works, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
There might be a cone thief in town, you never know.
Yeah, the cone thief. Betty, does that kind of answer your question?
So it's okay to put it on your fence, but it's not it's not, I don't see why it's okay to put it on your fence if it's not legal to say that they can't park there, because people that driving by don't know that that's not legal. I mean, they're not going to park there. And so I feel like we should just say it's not okay to put no parking in front of a right of way, or even on a fence. If it's on your property, it's not okay. I don't know.
That makes sense, but I will be getting back to you on that and making sure that code's followed.
Yeah.
Thanks, son.
Of course, I think you can probably put anything on your fence since it's your fence. Doesn't mean that and it has to be followed.
You can't put any signs.
No,
Well,
there's so many sign ordinances.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Alright.
wondering because we do have a strong sign ordinance and that's a sign. So
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Put
Anyway.
a plastic alligator up there or something. Okay, and then I think we had, elk and bunnies, not health and money, but elk and bunnies.
So I'm answering things on Facebook and somebody said that we slaughtered a bunch of our bunnies and I don't think that's true that I'm aware of.
There was a bunny capture, remember the bunny rescue came in last year? Some organization that takes bunnies. If somebody catches the bunnies, they come and take them.
Okay, but none were
Slaughter.
executed.
No.
Okay, so yeah.
I
this
never
is-
heard
and-
that.
Okay, so I corrected that. And a lot of it is just a lot of education on Facebook. But the elk, we're right in the middle of the 77 elk being killed in Deerheart and in Surf Pines. And my concern is, okay, these damage control permits that were given to this guy with private property, and it was happening, the Elk Collaborative was not informed. It was done behind the scenes, and the Paul Atwood, the Oregon Fish and Wildlife person, just handed him 77 tags to kill these elk over 3 years on his platform, enticing them with food, and because his fences and grass were being disturbed by the elk. And there's involvement from, I understand, golf courses as well, but who knows, they won't come out and say that. Anyway, so my concern with Cannon Beach is, okay, we like really love our elk. And my friend who's lived here for years says the elk population's been stable in Cannon Beach for years. And my concern is what would happen if somebody on private property outside the city limits was given elk tags to kill elk? And, you know, we know there is a person who wants to do that. And I just want to really put it out there. And I think none of us in Cannon Beach, and I may be speaking to that person, want to kill our elk. And I want to make that sure. And I'm sure that we love our elk, and we you know, they're majestic to us, and part of why tourists love to see them. And it scares me. It really scared me, the whole thing, because that people can just do this with some law that's actually legal. You know, we're going to the state with this, of course. So anyway, I just want to kind of feel the temperature of where the city officials and the city council is coming with the elk, and outside of city of Cannon Beach, where they wander, like, you know.
Well, can I, let me ask Jason. Jason, what's the law regarding that?
Killing elk on private property?
I guess it's
Within the city.
within the city.
That would be a no.
Don't allow people to kill elk on their own property in the city limits. You
What's
can't
that?
fire-
Say that again?
It's disallowed.
Disallowed?
But what about outside the city limits?
We have
If
no
given
control.
a damage control tag.
That would be up to the state or the county.
Yeah, we have
That's
no
up-
control over that.
Oh.
Yeah, well, right outside of the city limits of Cannon Beach is where our elk go sometimes. So I think we need to figure out how to get control of that. So we need to talk about laws about that.
Yeah, you're talking legislature.
And you're talking about Fish and Wildlife and
Yeah, we're talking
contacting,
fish and wildlife.
contact them, you know, I've made it
Oh,
no
he's
secret
been
that I'm not a
contacted.
fan. Huh? Yeah.
It's
And-
Paul Atwood, okay? He's
Yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I just, unfortunately, legally, we can't tell the county what they can do, and we can't tell the state what they can do. They can tell us in certain circumstances, but we can't tell them. So I don't know how we'd control it other than lobbying, you know, or you know, writing letters or starting a letter campaign or something to Fish and Wildlife and to the county and to the state.
And what would you ask them?
Say, we don't want the elk that, you know,
Herd.
or we don't want our herd impacted by, you know, private land. I mean, I don't know if they'd listen. From past experience, I would say maybe not. But you can try.
Go to a county commission meeting while the iron's hot, because it's obviously a heavily discussed topic countywide, and you could go to a county commission meeting. Discuss it there.
That's
the
good.
county commission meeting in Clatsop County.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because let me tell you how hot it is.
Oh, I'd like to see you at one of those meetings, Deb.
Hot?
That would be great.
I'm putting wood on it, okay?
I said, I'd like to see you at one of the county commission meetings. That would be great. Have you ever listened to one of them?
Oh, yeah, well, no, I have not, but I went to the
Okay,
city of
well,
Deerhart and told them how wonderful
right.
Cannon Beach is.
It'll be interesting.
Maria?
Yeah, so I think it would be beneficial if we could do some work, I don't know who, but do some work to diffuse the elk situation here. I feel like a lot of neighbors have been more getting more sensitive about the elk situation, and that it's escalating. And I feel like that's part of what might have played into the events in Gerhart was that I'd never even been to Gerhart in the neighborhoods, but I had heard about their elk situation and it sounded very dramatic. And I think sometimes when people think they might even partially be helping to solve a problem that we have by having elk killed on their private property through proper channels. I think it might have given some people with property nearby ideas that they might be able to help Cannon Beach solve their landscaping problems or their elk droppings on the sidewalk problems. And so I think there's a little bit of, there's some glamour that comes with having an elk problem, that you can kind of complain that you have an elk problem, but that's actually, you know, a pretty wonderful thing to be able to complain about. So I think that goes hand in hand as well. So I think we would do well to get that in check a little bit. I know there are reasons to complain, but I think we could explore a lot of ideas about gardening with wildlife, landscaping with wildlife, and safely traveling around with dogs. Those are all really super valid concerns, and I have those concerns too, but I am eagerly exploring how to live happily with the wildlife in our community. And I maybe we can have, I don't know, even workshops and things to try to rein in that escalating drama of it, to try to make sure it's clear that we do support our elk.
You know, we had some neighbors or people, renters who were they have a second home here, who came to one of these coffee with counselors several months ago and complained mightily about the elk population. And so I did provide them with garden tips, and the blowback from that, they wrote a letter to the paper talking about, she gave us gardening tips or something, like it was worthless. But, I think I agree with you. I think education would be really a great thing. I think that because people, I'm worried that someone's going to get hurt by an elk, because I've seen people standing a few feet from two young bulls, actually just a few days ago, taking pictures. And if an elk hurts them, who's going to get blamed? The elk's going to get blamed, not the visitor, for being dumb enough to stand that close to a young male. So I think that it is important. I agree with you about the education thing. And there are so many ways you can landscape to not have detrimental effect on your garden. You can't landscape like you're in Portland or in Chicago or in the city. You have to landscape for this environment.
I mean, just thinking that we could maybe for the 12 days of Earth Day this year.
That would be a great time to do it.
Have an educational.
Yes.
That'd be a great topic.
This might be the.
Hey, who is, Lisa, who is that? It was just talking, because I can't see.
There's
Dan.
Maria.
Oh, Maria.
She's new.
Maria, that's all really good feedback.
She's not new. She's new to this meeting.
Yeah, right.
But what I want to say is, there's a whole group of us, including wildlife people all over the state and even actually nationally, that are on top of this now, and to prevent it from happening again. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. And I agree that we need to prevent this to happening again. And in Cannon Beach, I think it's through education. In Gerhart, not through education.
And so it isn't just education, I think, of just tourists I agree they need to be more elk aware, but also the full-time or part-time community in, I guess, the appreciation of living with wildlife, and it's going to ebb and flow. We will have cougars, maybe bears will come. We have to know that it's not static. And that we're going to want to adapt how we do things, how we travel around at night, and and with our dogs, to keep that an essential part of this.
What, did you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say I'm so grateful for this conversation. It's so important. These four-leggeds have been around long before we two-leggeds arrived. And it's an opportunity for us as community members, residents, to work on our culture so that we can avoid situations like have happened. Where somebody was injured seriously, a local person, a beloved friend, where someone's dog was killed. And so there are tragedies that are involved. And this really speaks to the need for us to understand as a community how to be part of and work with creation locally, how to re-energize ourselves so that we know what we can do. Affirming that we all care is a really good first step, because some people have different ideas about how to move forward. And some people, then you can have this split, and like some people want to come in and do one thing, some people want to do another. But affirming that we care for the elk is a really good first step. And then I think in addition to signage, in addition to the things we normally look toward in terms of education, I would suggest that there are probably old ways of doing things like this involving indigenous ceremony, and that having strong relationships with indigenous people, both folks who have a DNA that links to Cannon Beach and links to the area, and people who may be coming from other places and bringing information that that can help us. I think, having both celebrations and ceremonies that reconnect us with creation and reconnect us with the elk. The elk are powerful. And I think there's an opportunity there for us to come together as a community. And so I'd like to offer up here just personally and say this is a prayer for me personally. I'm not projecting that on anybody else, except that, I know everyone in this forum I trust cares about the elk. Maybe even the person who, in my opinion, misguidedly would want to kill an elk on their property without really sussing that out with other folks. That would not be how I would go about it. But I do think it's important, if we can, to affirm our shared care for these amazing creatures. And I appreciate everybody here who's done that.
I totally agree with everything both of you said. So, and I'm willing to do it. Okay. We've already worked on a flyer, Jason and I did. So let's take it further, and like our own collaborative in Cannon Beach. That's what I would love to see, and voice our caring for our elk, and then how to protect ourselves.
I'd like you to
I'm all over
connect
that.
with this woman in the audience here, because I think she had some really good things to say too. Can you?
Maria, how do I, if I could figure out how to connect with you?
I think I recognize your name from Facebook as an administrator.
Yes. Okay. So
and I post often and very recently photos on the Cannon Beach Facebook. And so the last name, my first name is Maria and my last name is Koshi, K.
Yeah, I love what you both said. Thank you so much.
I want to, last 3 minutes. Janae, did you have anything you want to say about CERT and neighborhood?
Actually, yes, I do. Thank you, Nancy. First of all, I just want to say thank you to the councilors. Thank you to the city, the police department, the emergency manager for supporting your emergency team. Lisa, thank you for being a CERT. Our mayor is a CERT. And we have some CERTs here. Oh, Lynn, you're the CERT. And I just want to make sure that I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for the city that actually is helping us get our emergency team up there, because there's a lot of cities that do not have emergency teams, and I feel like we're blessed. And I just wanted to say thank you. Please continue to support your community emergency responders. And when you see one out there, please just say thank you to them. Just say thank you for helping and being there if we need you. So that's just pretty important. So please,
Didn't you have somebody else?
that's all I'm saying. That's it for today.
And
Okay.
I'm interested, we are another CERT Academy in January.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
we are.
Good. And, you know, we have a great emergency management director in Rick Hudson. He's been just terrific. And I've seen what we had before he came, and now I see what we have after, and he's been just terrific. Jason has been terrific as well. So thank you
That's
guys.
one thing. Please say thank you to them when you see them. We don't thank anybody enough. Bruce, thank you for managing and letting us do what we have to do to, to help. So without
And
Bruce,
thank you, Janae. Thank you, Janae.
Yes, thank you.
thank you to all of us.
And Janae's done an incredible job.
Oh, God. She volunteers for everything there is.
That's right. That's right.
One more thing, Nancy, the church actually will be having a Thanksgiving dinner, the Cannon Beach Community Church, for people who do not have a place to go or people that just want to have community. So it's from 2 to 3, from 3 to 5, 3 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. So everyone
Yeah, that's
is
great.
welcome.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, we're actually out of time now. So unless anybody has any burning issue they need to talk about, I'm going to adjourn. Betsy, your hand is up.
Well, I was just wondering if Stacy, who I can't see because she doesn't have her photo on, had anything she wanted to say before we all say thank you and happy Thanksgiving to each other.
Oh, thank you for asking. That's really nice of you. No, I just want to hear and participate more in the conversation about short-term rentals. That wasn't me barking. That was my dog. I'm not a cat.
Stacy, was there anything that you didn't get answered in our short conversation about
No,
short-term rentals?
it looks like the best thing to do is to monitor the retreats and then get involved when it actually becomes an agenda.
Okay, just keep a watch out. The city council has a page on the city website, and it has all of our agendas and minutes and packets and everything that you can take a look at. I know that sounds like a really exciting thing to do, but it can't be.
I did look. That's how I found this meeting.
Great, okay,
Yeah.
good. It may not be that exciting, but it's informative as much as we can be.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to adjourn this meeting today, and we will see you on the third Monday of December. And have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
You too.
Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.